Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to teach how to make multiple strokes or outlines around type, a photo, and this border. So this is kind of what we're going to work on today. It's going to look like that when we get done. So let's get started. Let's go up here to File, New, Blank File. We'll just leave the settings in there, scrapbooking 12 by 12, and click OK. Now before we start, I want to separate my layers panel from the other panels. Now in order to do that, you come down here to this little triangle, click on that triangle and choose Custom Workspace. When you click on the Custom Workspace, then it creates all of these tabs up here for your effects and filters and styles, all in tabs, and you can just grab this tab, this layers tab, and pull it right out. Now we'll be able to see the layers panel as well as the other panels that we're going to be using over here. To start with, I want to bring in a background. So let's choose the background. We'll come down. This has a birthday theme, so I'm going to choose this one with balloons. Bring that in there. We're going to pick up some of our colors off of this background, the colors that we use for our strokes. Now to get some type, let's click on the type tool. Let's choose, we want it to be fairly large, so I'm going to go 100 point type. Leading doesn't really matter because we're going to be all on one line. The color doesn't matter because I'm going to use a style. I want centered. Now to get this centered perfectly, I'm going to use this rulers. I'm going to draw a guide. If you don't see the rulers, you can go up to View, Rulers, and as you click on that, it toggles the rulers on and off. So I want to see the rulers, and I want to click right in the ruler and drag this guide out and go right to 6 inches, which will be the middle of our artwork. Right to 6 inches. And I know that's the middle. Now with the type tool selected, horizontal type, bold's fine, 100 points. We're going to click right here in the middle, and we're going to type. Happy birthday. Click the check mark to accept that. Now go back to the type tool. We're going to go to the warp text, and we're going to arc, use the arc, and 50 is a little too much. I'm going to go 30, so I can just type it in, or you can use this slider right here. I'm just going to type it in because that seems to be easy. Click OK. Now I'm going to go to the move tool up here and just drag it down a little bit so that it's into our artwork. You can see that it's centered by these squares in the bounding box and this bullseye crosshairs symbol in the middle. You can tell that it's centered in there perfectly. Now let's go over here to the styles, and you can pick any style that you want. I'm gonna pick this style right here. So as I double click on that, it puts that style into that type. Now you can add a stroke directly to that, but I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to put this layer in a group. So up here in the group icon, create a new group, click on that, and that creates a group, group 1. So I'm going to drag my happy birthday layer into group 1. And you can tell if it's in group 1 by toggling on and off this little arrow. You can see when I click on it and it closes, the layer disappears. It's within that group, so that's good. So I'm going to have group 1. I'm going to have 3 different strokes on this. So I'm going to add another group and one more group. And I'm going to drag group 1 into group 2, and I'm going to drag group 2 into group 3. So now I have the layer, a group 1 inside of group 2 inside of group 3. So I have 3 groups. I'm going to select group 1, and I'm going to go up here and say layer, layer style, style settings. And here's where I'm going to put on the stroke. I'm going to add the stroke here, click on that, click on the color, swatch right here. That opens up the color picker, and I want to just have a white stroke for this first one. So this is the hexadecimal numbers here. You can type FFF, or you can type 255, 255, 255. That is perfect white. So just click OK. And I'm going to give this about a 10 pixel stroke. So I had 10 there, and click OK. And there's our first stroke. It's going around the type. Now for group 2, I'm going to go up and say Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, click on Stroke, and click on the color. Now with this color picker open, if you put your cursor over here into your artwork, you can see that the cursor changes into a dropper, eyedropper. You can pick up any of those colors. I'm going to pick up this green color right here. So click on that, and that gives me my green color. Click OK. And I'm going to give this a 10 pixel stroke as well. And click OK. Okay, now we have the white stroke and a green stroke. So the third one is going to be, I'm going to use the pink. So I'm going to go up here, select the group 3, come up here to Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, Stroke, click on the color swatch. I'm going to pick this pink right here. Pink, say OK, give it a 10 points, or 10 pixels, click OK, and now we've got pink around that outline. I don't like that. I think it's a little bit too light, so I'm going to change it to be this darker pink right here. So just double click the FX over here on the group, and that opens this back up, and I can click on the color swatch, come over here and pick up that darker pink color, click OK, and that changed it up here. So now you can see, let me enlarge this a little bit. You can see that I've got the 3 strokes around there, a white stroke, a green stroke, and a pink stroke. Okay, let's say OK on that. Okay, now if I want to add some more type, let's click on the type tool. And let's go with 70 point on this one. And click right in here. We don't care if this one's centered. It's not going to be centered. I'm going to say 5 years old. Click the check mark and give it the same style there. Now I want it to have the same strokes, the same outlines. So I can just grab that layer and drag it into group 1. And now it has the same strokes, same outlines as the happy birthday. Now one thing, if I want to move that just a little bit, I can't move it, because watch what happens. If I click on this to move it, it automatically selects group 3 up there. So I can't just grab it and move it. If I grab it and move it, it moves everything. Let's do a Command Z or Control Z to undo that. If I want to move that to a different position, I need to grab that and drag it out of the group. So it's up here now. Now I can move it where I want. Let's just put it over here a little bit. Drag it back in to group 1. And there we go. So that's how you add multiple strokes around type. Now let's bring in a picture. Let's go down here to the photo bin. I'm going to bring in this picture. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. I want it to go up here like this. Okay. Okay, now let's see if we can do the same thing with that. Let's see what happens. If I grab that picture and drag it into group 1 so that it adds those strokes. Oh, it added the strokes. Let's put it down underneath the type because I want the type to go on top. There, it added those strokes, but look what it did. It took the strokes away from this part of the type that's overlapping the picture, and the stroke just goes around the type and then goes right around the picture. And that might be something that you want. It might not be what you want. So if I want the strokes to go around the happy birthday, around the type, and then around the picture separately, I need to drag this out. Drag this out of group 1. I need to do the same thing as I did with the type. Close all those groups down. Let's put 3 groups on here. We're going to have group 4, group 5, and group 6. Let's drag the picture into group 4. Now, let's make sure it's in there. Yep, it's in there. Drag group 4 into group 5 and group 5 into group 6. Now, if I want to add those same strokes, I don't need to go in and do them again because I've already done them once. In here, I want the picture below the type, so I'm going to drag this group 3 down. See how you get the double line in there? If I just drop it into group 3, it'll go into group 3, but I don't want it there. I want it down. I want it right above the background and underneath group 3. So there I have the double line. Let go of it. Now I have group 6 underneath the type. And that's what I wanted. Now if I expand these out again, so we can see all of the groups, group 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Now instead of putting all those on separately like I did before, I can just grab this FX right there. If I click on group 1 and I hold down the Option or the Alt on a PC, click on that FX and drag that down to group 4, because that's our first stroke, the white one. And there it goes. See the white stroke around the picture? Do the same thing with group 2. I want to drag this FX, which is the green stroke. I want to put this on group 5, so hold down the Option or the Alt and click on the FX and drag it down to group 5. Same thing with group 3. I want to move this down to group 6 or copy it to group 6. So hold down the Option or Alt, click on it, drag it down. And there we go. Now we've got all the strokes around the type. We've got the strokes around the picture. We've got the strokes are overlapping. The strokes of the type are overlapping the strokes of the picture. So everything looks the way that I want it to look. Next, let's build the border. Okay. Let's close those up. Let's add a layer right above background. Select this marquee tool over here, this square one. Let's come in 3/4 of an inch, and you can see up here on the ruler where I'm at. Let's come in 3/4 of an inch and down over here. We're looking over here now too. 3/4 of an inch over and 3/4 of an inch down. And click. Let's get it right on there. Click and drag. Now to make it 3/4 of an inch exactly the border, I need to go to 11 1/4 on the top ruler and 11 1/4 on the side ruler, and right there. Let go. Now we have the marquee. Now with this layer selected, we're going to go to Edit, Stroke the Selection. We want this to be the white stroke because that's the first one, so that's going to be the middle stroke. So we're going to click on that. To get white, just go FFF, and that gives us our white. Say OK, and we want this to be about 10 pixels. That's what we did on all these other strokes. So we'll go 10 pixels, 10 pixels, white, OK. That gives us our white stroke. Now let's make another stroke. Select the background. Select a new layer. We've still got the marching ants. We've still got our selection. So just go up to Edit, Stroke the Selection. Let's select our green color. So let's click on that. We get the color picker. Just select that green color that we had. Click OK. Now if we want this rule to go 10 pixels on either side of the white rule, we're going to have to go 30 pixels because we'll have 10 pixels and then 10 pixels that'll be underneath the white and then 10 pixels more. So we'll make it 30 pixels. 30 pixels, click OK. And there we've got our green rule around the white rule. Let's do that one more time. Click the background, new layer, edit, stroke the selection. We'll do the same thing here. We're going to go 50 because we're going to go 10 on either side. Whoops, 50. And we're going to get the pink color over here. Pink color. Click OK. OK. And there it is. If you want to put a drop shadow on that, because right now it looks a little bit flat, if you put a drop shadow on it, then it's going to look a little more 3D and pop out a little bit better. So let's put a drop shadow on the type. Group 3 is on the outside stroke, the red stroke. So we're going to double click on that FX, and we can just add a drop shadow to that. Let's just click on drop shadow. This up here determines what angle the drop shadow is going to go, and we don't want it, this will be coming straight from the top. We want it to kind of come from the side. And let's give it about 30 for the size and 30 for the distance. And we'll go 50 for the opacity, just to make it a little bit darker so you can see it. And click OK. There's the drop shadow right there. See the drop shadow around that type? Okay, and it also came around this type too because they're all in that group. Now we can do the same thing with this one. Drop shadow, the angle stays the same. That angle will be the same on all the drop shadows now throughout the whole artwork. So let's just put 30 in here and 30 in here and 50 in here and say OK. And now that drop shadow is going around the picture. Now to get a drop shadow around the border, we need to put all these in a group. So select all of those, shift click and select all of them. Click on this group, create a group, and they all go inside that group. Now on that group, click layer, layer style, style settings, drop shadow. Got the same angle. Just go the same settings as we had on the others, 30, 30, and 50. Click OK. And there we go. Got the drop shadow around the border, drop shadow around the type, drop shadow around the picture. So that's how you add multiple strokes to your artwork. Just put them in groups and add a stroke to the group. You can add as many strokes as you want. We use 3 in this, but you can go more if you want, whatever you want. So continue to practice. Don't get discouraged. Sometimes Photoshop has a learning curve, but you'll be able to do it. Just keep practicing. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.